Coach Smith. I mean, here at Mizzou, talk about the season so far. What's kind of on your mind. You know.
It's some people would say we're having a struggle this year, but to me, I tell the coaching staff it's a challenge. We have guys that are injured and guys that are the injuries are taking some quality guys out of the lineup. But with that, it challenges you as an individual on the mat, but also which it provides opportunity for guys that wouldn't normally be in there. But as a coaching staff, it makes we got to find ways to not just help these guys get better on the mat, but the mental side, because it's not fun losing. And we're losing more duels than we've probably lost in a long, long time, but I know we're going to be a better team the second half. And it's just keeping that mindset, so we work a lot with the mindset, and letting the coaches know we've got to be the positive people in their lives right now and keep coaching them up. And that's why I love days like today when we do our individuals and kids are coming in, getting a lot of attention and just getting better. And when you keep them positive, they're going to keep improving in the sport, and it's good. So I just see we're going to grow as a team and get better. We're challenged as coaches, but we're getting better.
Talk about, the schedule, like you said. I mean, you have a really tough start in the schedule. Was that on purpose to start off that hard and fast?
It's just kind of the way it fell, just having to wrestle all these teams home and aways, and it's when they could come out. But we do have, when we were wrestling Arizona State, and then they came into the Big 12. So we have an Arizona State, we have Virginia Tech, we have Cornell. We have a lot of good teams, and this year, of course, with Penn State on the schedule. And then seeing, this weekend we'll see Minnesota's, and in the past we've seen Maryland and Purdue. It's just, it never lets up, and that's not including the Iowa States, the Oklahomas, the Oklahoma States, Northern Colorado's, all the teams in the conference that will wrestle it. But that's, that's the challenge. And if you look at it, man, this is just really hard, or this is what it is. I've got to adapt to it. And that's what you got to get your kids and your program to believe in. And we have a lot of young kids starting right now, but getting them bought in that you're going to get better. You're going to keep improving. Just this adversity is going to make you stronger.
Talk about some of the leaders on this team. I mean, obviously Keegan's one of them. And,
yes.
Noah Certain is also another. Talk about how they've been, such key parts as they've been, a part of this team for, number of years.
Noah and Keegan are like in their 5th and 6th years, so it's forever. But with that, a lot of it is leadership through example. And I think of a Keegan O'Toole, he just lives it right. He just does everything, not just on the mat, but off the mat, and the way he lives his life. But specifically with the challenges that he runs into, he never walks off a mat, even though you look at all his wins are by, majors or tech falls or pins. He's walking off the mat and saying, man, this is what I got to do better. I got to improve at this. I didn't do this well. He's finding things that he has to work on. And then, of course, he's helping others, saying, hey, let me help you with this position that you struggled with. And that type of leadership is great. And then, of course, he's doing it in the classroom. He's loved in the community. So it's for our young guys to see that example from him, and Noah Certain, who's preparing to go to med school and finishes his senior year. That type of example is great for young kids to look at and say, look at how they're doing it on the mat and how they're doing it in the life, too, that they're going to learn from that and hopefully become high achievers like they are.
Talk about, Keegan and kind of the summer he's had and the adjustments that he has made, heading into his final season.
Yeah, I mean, he came off nationals, you'd think he was down, but he wasn't. He was banged up, he recovered, got ready for the trials for the other worlds, and had some good wins and had some tough losses, but from that got to wrestle up the weight, and now he's been wrestling at the weight that he competed in freestyle. And it's just, he's been good. He's definitely much bigger. He's still adjusting to it. He had some tougher matches than he wanted, but there were tough opponents. I think it was the Virginia Tech kid was really talented and scrambled really well. So it was just a different type of match for him. But he's adapting and getting better, and he's growing from it. And I know he's working these next couple weeks on technique and keeping his strength up. That he's definitely prepared himself to move up a weight, and then with freestyle, it's going to help him too, because he'll stay at that weight.
Speaking of your lineup, I mean, 197, you have young Aiden Sinclair. I mean, he's got some good wins, and Obviously, you have Elam in your back pocket if he's going to come out. What's
Yeah.
your solution, you think, for 97? You think Sinclair's going to kind of stay there, or is it kind of just wait and
We're
see?
planning on redshirting him. We're hoping Rocky will finish up here, and if not, then we'll figure that out when it does happen. We still have a few weeks to decide on that. Rocky has been on the mat more than he has been in a long time, so excited to just see him feeling healthy again and wrestling and getting back to what he should feel like. And because he's really good. He's a 4-time All-American. That's not a fluke. He is really good, and we want to get him back in the lineup.
And he's also a crucial leader, to Sinclair. What is it meant to also have him in the room
Yeah,
as well?
I mean, to have him going day to day, that's one of the reasons Aiden came, to have the opportunity to train with a guy like Rocky and the experience he brings, just the style. It's a style clash for Aiden, a really tall, lanky 97-pounder, and how he rides and how he attacks single legs. It makes it tough on Aiden, but Aiden brings some things to Rocky too. And so they've already been on the mat a bunch of times now, where they're just sharing ideas and sharing things, what they're doing in different situations, and that's good. Knowledge is good in the room, and wanting to learn.
Also the coaching staff, he added Jared J. Coos, obviously,
Yep.
as a coordinator
Yep.
for recruiting, and Dom is always back. I mean, just talk about the coaching staff that you have.
Yeah, we have a coaching staff that has performed at every level. When you look at, with Coach Todd and Maple, and then you go to Dom, who just retired. But I really think Dom had his best years, his last few years, when he became full-time coaching, but was still competing. I let him still compete. I would tell him, man, you just seem like you're a better coach now and a better wrestler. And he's like, man, having to coach these guys and put them through and training with them has made me think through things more. And he's evolved as a wrestler, and he did. Dom had his best years his last few years, and he was up there in his mid-30s. But it also made him a better coach, because he understood as he was training what athletes did need and the way he was coaching them. So really pleased to have that. And then Jarrett joining us in the recruiting coordinator position. We have Brock Mahler still here training, who's been on world teams. So it's just the experience we have in our room, and the guys that these young men get to work with have done it at every level now. So it's fun to have that I can kind of watch the knowledge being passed around the room. It's awesome.
Speaking of Dom specifically, were you emotional when he finally said this is going to be my last tournament, and what were kind of going through your heads, as the
Wanted to see his last match, because I knew his last match was going to be, and we had talked about this, and it was a decision. It was one of those that it was the right decision. He had trained a long time. Nobody usually wrestles to that age. I think he was 35 or 6 or whatever it was, and he knew with he has a wife and 2 kids at home. He's coaching full time here. He actually really helps out at the youth club too. So it's amazing the time he puts into the sport, that he really to give full to both his family and the team. He knew it was at that point now that he had to step away. So was it sad? Yes, because you're seeing a career that was amazing. I mean, he was on world teams for a lot, and right in the thick of things at heavyweight, and what he had accomplished and what he's given back to the sport by, that you see Dom in here with about 50 young kids, 5 and 6 year olds, this big guy teaching all these young kids and sharing his knowledge. It's amazing what he does for the community, for our team, and for the university. That it's a sad moment to see him step away, but he's still giving so much.
And finally, talk about this weekend upcoming and the rest of the excitement level, for the rest of the season.
It's always exciting when you finally get to the competition part, and we've been in the grind of it. And this weekend will be good, because we'll get to see. I think we have 15 guys wrestling, so I get to see more of some of the young guys out there, and some of the older guys too, and getting some more matches against different competition. I think Minnesota's going to be out there, a couple different teams we don't normally see, so that's good for us. It's just learning and growing and seeing where we're at, and then getting back into the room and in the film room and seeing what we did and growing from it.